clarifying Natan's story about Obama being Gog. Natan is this young Israeli boy. He was 15 back in 2015. He died temporarily, and while he was in heaven, he gained knowledge about future events that will come upon planet Earth. Gog, the ruler of Magog, will take over the world, according to Natan, and then will invade Israel, and then the Messiah will come. Now, Natan has claimed that Obama is this fellow Gog. Gog is actually the Antichrist. And so for him to call President Obama Gog, G-O-G, that's a very serious charge. And it's not true. Gog is actually Gorbachev. Gorbachev is actually Gog. He's 87 years old, but he's still in power behind the scenes. Putin is his puppet, and Gorbachev is the puppet master. And before Putin, there was Yeltsin. Yeltsin was Gorbachev's protege, and Gorbachev is responsible for Yeltsin moving up, becoming a powerful political figure. And Yeltsin was a puppet before Putin. Now, Gorbachev is the Antichrist because Daniel 8, verse 25, according to the King James Version, says that by peace he will destroy many. That describes Gorbachev exactly, because he made peace not for a good reason, but for the ultimate bad reason. He did it to trick America into disarming so that Russia could then bomb America with impunity. The idea is that our retaliatory arsenal would be so small that Russia could destroy it. And so Russia would escape the MAD, mutual assured destruction. It would not be mutual, it would be totally one-sided. Now, this fellow Natan, back in 2015, he says that Obama is Gog. Now, what is the rationale, or how can we make sense out of this? Well, the idea is that President Obama signed a disarmament treaty called the New START Arms Control Treaty. And this brought us down to below 1,300 warheads on our 8 submarines at sea. Now, why is this important? Russia can shoot down 1,300 warheads with their ABMs, anti-ballistic missiles. And we need to have more than 1,300 in order to keep Russia from attacking, in order to deter Russian attack. Now, until Obama signed this treaty in 2010, we had more than 1,300 warheads on our 8 submarines at sea. But since he signed it, we fell below 1,300, which is the magic number. We are now down to 1,120 warheads. So we are actually inviting Russian attack. So Obama played into Gorbachev's hands. So in that sense, that makes Obama it links him to Gorbachev. And like I say, Gorbachev is the real Gog, G-O-G, the man that is given he's described in Ezekiel 38 and 39. He's the man that invades Israel, and then Christ comes and defeats that invasion. And because he's the leader of the invasion, he's got to be the Antichrist, because in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 8, it says the reason for the second coming is for Christ to destroy the Antichrist. Now, if you put that passage together with Ezekiel 38 and 39, it points to Gorbachev being the Antichrist, because he's the man in charge of the invasion, and Christ comes to defeat the invasion of Israel. This new START treaty, arms control treaty that President Obama signed in April of 2010, it went into effect it started going into effect in 2011, and I think it's supposed to go into full effect in 2017. So that means ever since that time, we are actually living on borrowed time. It's just a matter of time before Russia attacks us, because they have nothing to lose, because they can bomb us without any damage to themselves. They can bomb us with impunity. Think of what I'm saying. This country has disarmed to the point where we are actually inviting a Russian attack. What happened was, on each of our submarines, there's 24 cylinders with a missile in it. Now, the treaty reduced the number of missiles we have from 24 down to 20. And each missile carries 8 warheads, but one of the warheads is a decoy. And long story short, each missile has 7 warheads. So you multiply 8 submarines times 20 missiles times 7 warheads. It comes out to 1,120 warheads. Now, if Natan died temporarily and God or the angels gave him knowledge about future events, which events agree with Bible prophecy, why did they give him false information about the identity of Gog? Maybe it would be too explosive for him to come back and just say straight up that Gorbachev is the Antichrist. But I want to tell you today that is the explanation for Natan's attack on President Obama. Obama is not a Gog, but he does fit into the scenario about Gog, because he's the one that makes Gog or Gorbachev able to launch this attack on America. And okay, Natan said that it was his impression that the Russian attack, the Russian takeover of the world, would be very, very soon, which means a matter of months. Now, this was back in 2015. You can look up his video on YouTube. And there's an Orthodox Jewish rabbi. They live in Israel. And the video, there's two videos, the long version and the short version. And long story short, if he gave that video in 2015, and the Russian takeover of the world is supposed to be very soon, because it's 2018 now, the time must be very, very short. We must be down to just a matter of months. It should be within the remainder of 2018, or at the very most 2019. 2020 is out of the question. Going by what I just said, Natan said it would be happening very soon. Now this gives credibility to my theory that July 22nd, 2018 is the actual day, or within 1 week of that date. Within 1 week of July 22, which is Sunday, should be when Gorbachev presses a button and launches a nuclear war upon America and takes over Western Europe and actually Eastern Europe also. Now, what's so special about July 22nd? It's Tish B'Av. Tish means 9 in Hebrew, and Av is the name of the month. It's the 5th month. So Tish B'Av means the 9th day of the 5th Jewish month. And this is the day that Babylon destroyed the Jewish temple when they had a war. They made war against Judah, and they tore up Jerusalem and they burned the temple on the 9th of the 5th. And then when the Romans attacked Judah and tore up Jerusalem, they also destroyed the temple on what day? The anniversary. That's right, Tish B'Av all over again. And many other terrible things happened on Tish B'Av, or within 1 week of Tish B'Av. And so just be ready. If it does happen, I want you to know that Christ will come and defeat the Russians within 5 months. The book of Revelation says 5 months. In Revelation chapter 9, verse 5 and 10. Now, it's talking about the scene is a scene of occupation of conquered territory by Russian tanks. They're called locusts that are made out of iron. And they make the sound of war chariots running to battle. And so what is the modern day equivalent of war chariots? It's battle tanks. So we're talking about battle tanks. Now, battle tanks are used to occupy land after it has been conquered. So this is the scene pertaining to Western Europe, because that's the area that Russia will overrun and conquer. And so when it talks about 5 months in regard to this occupation of Western Europe, that's the length of the tribulation. It will only be 5 months, and Christ has to come by the end of that time. And so we have reason to be very, very joyful. So when Russian attack comes, you can actually rejoice in the midst of all the destruction and mass death. You can rejoice because the coming of Christ will reverse Russia's victory, and on that basis, it's a time to rejoice. Look beneath the video to where the caption is, to the description. I try to give a partial transcript of each of my videos, so that if you want to make a copy on paper, you can do that. And I recommend you do it because EMP will destroy the grid. It'll destroy computers. The only thing you could have that will remain will be what you take down on paper. Okay, send any comments to Joe Grace at gmail.com. JoeGrace.